Hello everybody, welcome. I'm here with Mr. Nature. I found Mr. Nature probably a good few months ago, just on YouTube. I think it was, am I correct, is Miss Sunshine your girlfriend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I found Miss Sunshine, so I've got his channels up here. His channel is a rabbit hole. This is a gold mine, honestly, for spiritual content and just spiritual lifestyle. It reminds me somewhat of how Dakota of Earth goes about. He's always in cool places, doing cool shit, just getting a camera out, positive vibes always. It's really good. So I found him originally through Miss Sunshine. When I was searching back in October when it was mushroom season here in the UK. And her videos come up of Liberty caps here, and that I was searching for, and then I went down a rabbit hole of her channel as it's of similar nature. I thought it was very interesting, and then I found Mr. Nature, and I'd done like a guided breathwork meditation that did, honestly, it definitely altered my consciousness, and it was a really, I'll have to revisit it. And then that's it. He uploaded a video yesterday about high on DMT, pure consciousness, 9 hours ago, and I watched that. I just commented podcast, and he was like, "Hell yeah!" And now here we are, and that is the context.
Perfect.
So it's a rather spontaneous one, but this is, and then another good point is so I done an interview with Psychedelic Actualization. He's following Mr. Nature on Instagram as well. So this was my plan from the get go, is to just bring people together somewhat and just have open conversations, and I know there will be a lot of value in this one, and it will just be a good chat. So how are we, Mr. Nature?
I'm amazing, brother. Perfect. Just peace here. How are you, brother?
Yeah, very good overall. Yeah, it's feeling your message a lot more, just like gratitude is key, and it's just everything's good. I'm happy to be here. So yeah, I'm definitely happy to be on a call with you.
Awesome, brother. The same to you. This is a great experience. The idea of you bringing people together with the psychedelic mind or psychedelic revolution or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I've had a similar idea, but I'm just happy. The more the merrier. Like there's so much space for holding people with high states of consciousness that is happening in the world around, and we need a space to express ourselves.
100%. Yeah, that's what I was saying before we got on here. Is like the whole spiritual podcast sort of realm doesn't seem to be too touched too thoroughly. So I reckon that is what I'll be specialising in. Alright, I'll just hit record on my phone just in case this dies, which it shouldn't, but it should be good. Alright, so I've written down a couple bullet points. I'm decently familiar with your channel. So you're originally from Sweden, I believe, is that correct?
Yep.
And then where are you now, if you don't mind?
Now I'm in Sweden again,
Oh,
but
okay.
I travel a lot, so but I have my base in Sweden, then I go for a few months and then I come back and
Yeah.
travel.
So that's one. So this was a question that I really want to get deep into, and this is when I finished the podcast with Psychedelic Actualization the other day. This is we began to talk off camera about the eco-village lifestyle and the sort of much more off-grid living, likely more Eastern, just less Western. So, like, one of the videos that blew my mind of yours is, I think it's called, like, All is Meditation. You're on the top of a mountain, yeah? This is what I say to
Yeah.
people about how I think the way that a lot of people live here in the West is a lot, like, I feel like a lot of people don't understand the potential of life, and this is why I wanted to begin on the eco-village point, is because you wake up on the top of a mountain, yeah, with literally God visually around you 360 because of the
All around.
landscape.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And you're there, good morning, wake and bake, eating fruit and that with the villagers, smoking weed on the top of the mountain with your girlfriend, healthy, spiritually awakened, and then you, not only are you that, you're talking about how you essentially, I swear you've said multiple times that you basically lived up there for free, obviously, but
Yeah, we live for free.
what
I can tell you,
that's
I
what
can
that's
tell you
what
the
that's what I
story how
want
it
to talk
happened.
about. It's
It's
like,
actually
Go on, please.
I can tell you the story. It's so crazy. Like, first of all, we were just going to travel to Asia. We're going to India. We had some cash. We went a month, and you could only get a month visa in India. We did India, then we went to Nepal. No plan, almost no money left, like a few hundred euros, but like so small amount of money. And we come there, no plan. We get some smoke, and then we sit and we're like, we chill a little bit, and we're like, it would be really cool to find an eco village on a mountain. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Then it goes like 4 hours, and we go on a walk, meet a person, get some other hash, and the guy who has the hash, he's like, "Oh, my friend owns an eco village, and they're looking for people because it's been Corona and no one is living there. It's just a mud house built on recycled plastic bags in plastic bottles, and then mud. And it has electricity, has running mountain water, it has everything for free. The only thing you need to do is take care of the place. And it's next to a Shiva temple. So it's like an ashram. You just need to be there with your presence and keep it clean." I was like, what? Literally 4 hours ago, I was saying this is what I wish for. I went for a walk, got some smoke, and then my wishes fulfilled. This is the crazy shit that happens when you walk in presence, when you walk with God and you're open and truthful about your heart desires, and you're not in this program of a schedule, of a 9 to 5, of here is where I usually am. You just get completely into the flow state and you speak things to existence, and it's like this. It's fucking crazy when you go out and do it. Like,
I see you're very attuned to like the flow, and the flow is something that I feel a lot more on psychedelics. But in my, like you say, in this sort
I
of, yeah, go on.
I can help you, like, just in general, what what psychedelics show you temporarily, like make you peak samadhi, make you peak oneness, is one of the most simple techniques ever. If you study self-realization, if you study the path of gurus that have reached self-realization and pure awareness and Buddhism, what you really do is that, imagine your attention all the time is on your thoughts. What's the next thought? What should I do? Where am I? All your attention is on the external things.
Hmm.
The only one thing you have to do is put your attention on the source of your thoughts.
Yeah, right. Put the awareness somewhat. This is how I approach meditation now. Is the awareness of the awareness times infinite. It's like you just become aware, ever receding back. But I know what you mean. It's like this is something I've been thinking a lot more recently. Is like one, you're always processing information if you don't meditate or like have a spiritual practice. You're always processing literal external information, whether you're at work or you're on your phone. Always processing like text, and but then not only that is your thoughts is also a form of like information processing. They come to
The
you.
the you the you thinking that you have to process those things is another thought. In this
Yeah.
awareness practice, all you're doing is dragging your identification away from the automatic habitual thinking that is natural. It's a happening. Your thinking, your logical mind is automatic. It knows how to count. It knows how to pick something up. It knows, oh, I need to cook food. Oh, open the fridge. The mind says that. It's not an actual doing. And the only suffering, like Buddha teaches, is identification with that.
Hmm.
So all you do is drag your identification back to the awareness which everything is showing up within. And that awareness allows all thoughts. It allows all feelings. It's always there. It's literally the thing that is constantly there and never changing. Thoughts change all the time. One day you feel like this, one day you feel like that. But this thing that all thoughts are showing up is permanent,
Hmm.
eternal,
Yeah.
unchanging. And self realization is realizing that you are not the thought construct, you are awareness. Because it's self realization. It's just finding out who you are. It's really simple. It's
Yeah.
like one of the most simple things in the world. Like,
It often
and
takes
it's like, yeah,
like
go on,
I don't mean
sorry.
to cut you off, but it says like it often takes it's so simple, but for a lot of heavily integrated Western minds, they often find it hard to grasp. And I was struggling with it for a long time, like looking at non-dual teachers and stuff for ages. I mean, I had an insight when I was really young, like brushing my teeth, that I wasn't my thoughts when I was like probably 14 something, and then that kind of left. But yeah, it's like basically the way I see it is that um there's like a screen of consciousness which is like just infinitely bringing things forward. There's always something in it, but then there's always an awareness. It doesn't matter what is happening anywhere in the history, that there's always an awareness, and then becoming aware of that awareness seems to like add like a step back to everything, and it's through that you can disidentify with the, because this is where like I've had a lot of like depression and suffering in my past, as everyone has, but it's the identification with the story in your mind that is really the root of like nearly 100% of
The
this.
root of it all is the I thought.
Mm.
As I, as soon as you're a separate I, you're in separation. And there comes suffering, good and bad, and all of these things. When you leave your identification as the silence, noise can still show up, thoughts can still show up. When your identification is with the eternal peace, the eternal soul, your awareness, then there is no suffering, because technically there is no you. We're one being here playing with itself in many forms, eternal souls, individual souls, but there's no one. It's all for fun. It's all made out of love. It's no serious thing whatsoever. And meditation, when you meditate enough, you don't need to meditate anymore.
I know. When I laughed on a psychedelic. It was like a 5 gram mushroom trip, some shit, and the idea of meditating was just laughable, because I was just in a consistent meditation, and like I can get in and out of that state now. Like
You are in that state right now.
uh
You are always that. That's our natural state. That's what
yeah
Dzogchen, Tibetan Buddhism teaches you. They teach you that your natural state, that when you just relax, is pure consciousness, is pure awareness. When you're sitting here and you're listening to me speak, you are not thinking. You are there without a thought for a moment. That is you when you relax. You're not becoming something. You're only losing what you've adapted, what you've grabbed on, what you're clinging on to, that you think you are.
yeah
And you are always in this state. You're always here. You're here with me now.
yeah. I definitely know what you mean. Like the way that I saw it was like because like normally how you go about you say that you don't need to meditate anymore. I assume this is in like some you're
I
always
still do
yeah
yoga, I still do pranayama, but not to achieve or become something. Not because I have to, or because I should or I shouldn't, just
yeah
because I love my temple.
yeah
I love life. I love the stretch. I love to breathe. It feels good.
yeah. So like say now like I'm still in and out of like going to do like formal meditation, sitting there, all right, no thing, but then you can get to a space where it's just not even necessary, because it I know you say that's what I'm in all the time, but like a lot of people just achieve meditation 24/7 somewhat, because they one of my favorite things to do is just to grow my awareness now, since like, and I'm sure you do this just like 24/7, but like I wake up in the morning, I go, oh yeah, and then I just start becoming aware of awareness. I guess it's just meditate, and then when I do that, it's like I cultivate an awareness that lasts for so long until maybe I lose it. But if you can maintain that whole thing, you're in meditation like all the time.
All the time. Life is meditation. Every single thing is the meditation. Every thought is meditation. Every feeling is meditation. It just, let's do a 2 minute practice now. Close your eyes and don't grab any thought. Just don't grab whatever shows up. What's the thing looking like? Where are you seeing from? The awakened state is when you don't cling to any thought. You don't follow whatever shows up.
It's like there's always something behind it, right? You don't ever have to identify with any image that.
You are the formless awareness that allows all all forms to show up because it's unconditional love. It's total acceptance. It's just the only thing in between is one identification with a thought. When you don't identify with anything, when you drop all concepts, you just don't cling, automatically you are there. You don't have to achieve or become something. That would mean that you have to change or fix something. You're already whole. You're already perfect. You're in Tibetan Buddhism, they call every human the great perfection. We
Mm.
are avatars of pure consciousness. And when we relax, this it says in the Bible, it says in every yoga book, it says, be still and know you are God.
Yeah, that's when like my most fulfillment or happiness, it comes when I'm stop trying to change things, and you just
Yeah.
accept the presence, because a lot of people just live in the past and the future, and it as if there's always something that needs to be changed. We're very future orientated, where, and especially with a lot of the personal development, like I uploaded a video recently, like the trap of personal development is the idea that
Yeah.
you need to develop at all.
It's the trap of personhood in general, too. In Buddhism, in Hinduism, personhood, I, separate self, is samsara. It's reincarnation, it's birth and death. Nirvana is one unified being, it's one awareness.
Hmm. That was well, just that 2 minutes then. Like I've been trying to meditate. I literally just then it was like I get visuals quite a bit when I meditate. Even just like you just close my. I was just focusing on the awareness, and it definitely took me out of shit for a minute. Like that quickly, it was weird. Uh,
Yeah, but it's so simple. Overthinking is complex, is hard. But being yourself is the most natural thing you can do in the whole universe. You're doing it right now. You're chilling. You are yourself. How does it feel good to be you? How does it feel?
it feels the beauty of living authentically and honestly
Yeah,
and out of love and compassion the way that you do is it's literally freedom, because
yeah,
when you don't like you're not filled with anxiety, or not, you're just authentically you, and you know who you are, and you live with you can only do your best, and then from that space it's like you're a pure being and you know who you are, and there's not this so many people live with so much baggage that hinders and like their authentic self.
yeah. And it's really such simple things as something as identification with your attention. Is the simplest thing is that you don't need to go to a retreat. You don't even need to take psychedelics, even though I'm a huge advocate of taking psychedelics, especially if you're in such a deep conditioning that you think anything we're talking about is crazy and meditation is crazy and you don't want to try it, but you would be interested in psychedelics. Then fucking take psychedelics because it gives you a moment of no conditioning. It gives you a
Mm-hmm.
moment of pure awareness.
Yeah.
Even if you break through or leave this dimension, see other places, even if you're here, you sometimes it just gives you full presence in nature with flowers, with trees, and you're just looking at life like a kid, like, whoa,
Yeah.
what is life? This is a miracle. Holy shit, this geometry in this tree is the same as in the flower, and you just see the design of all of creation, and it's just everything aligns in the moment. So but truly, it's like I recommend for anyone to study self realization and not like new age spiritual path or anything. Hinduism, Buddhism, the ancient gurus that were self realized have the most simple techniques ever. Taoism to literally leave your mind alone. That's it. There is no more. Imagine your mind is full of waves and it's the water with waves, and the water is full of waves, a little lake. And every time you're trying to fix something with your mind, you're creating more waves in the lake. But if you stop splashing the water, the lake settle.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
And
that.
every realized master tells you this and then laughs at you. The same way you laugh at yourself when you're on a high dose of mushrooms. Like, what the fuck? Why am I trying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, literally. It's like, yeah, it's like that must be like such a. This is why, like, the way that the West approaches mental health, I find is so backwards in a lot of ways. Because, like, there is one of the key solutions is that you simply stop thinking and mental suffering resides. That's why I've always rejected the way that our culture tends to approach mental health. Is
yeah,
they
for
very
sure.
quickly get you on all sorts of strange pills and that to suppress your symptoms. When I found spirituality, I knew that this is where it's at, and this is why before we got on the call, I said like we can talk so freely because we both are so familiar with these grounds. Spirituality is like a holistic approach to life in the most, but it's like the way to be. It's like the ultimate path.
We
Like,
are spirit. Like, we've just forgotten and gotten into this ego consciousness where we've fallen for a new religion called materialism, where you don't believe in God or you believe in some God in the sky that's gonna judge you. Because literally in schools, what you go and learn in school is that this was the Big Bang and first came matter and we evolved from water and some cells became this and then that formed consciousness.
mm,
And God is not real according to science. And now quantum physics and all that is proving that consciousness is first and matter is secondary. So you call in schools, we call it science, we call it what we learn of reality. We're learned into a godless, non-magical matter reality that happened by chance, and they call it science when it's actually a new religion. It's it.
yeah.
It's just, and all of science in medical schools and stuff like that is based from like the Rothschilds families and the Rockefellers who started with fucking oil byproducts making pharmaceutical pills and then spreading that and starting the pharmaceutical companies. And right now there's like over like 30,000 different medicines that you can have for like different normal diseases when there's actually just four root causes for disease, and it's like diet, exercise, and like environment, and it's and your thinking basically. It's not more than that. If you change what you're eating and you change how you're moving your body, and you change how you're breathing, then literally you've cured every disease in the world. You've cured cancer with some fasting, and it's like you have the whole everything in the medical shit is just completely fucked.
Yeah,
I have
I
no idea.
yeah, it's funny, and a lot of people are like, "Well, you're not Doctor Mister Nate, Doctor Mister Nature. You're not Doctor Nature. Like, how do you know all this?" And it's like so when I was laughing about the phone with my mate, it's like they're out here trying to find the cure for cancer. So sporadically, like, where is it? When's science gonna discover the cure for cancer? And it's like, you just don't cause it, living the way that most people live today. And and people are like, oh, how do you know this? And like, but it's like it's an intuitional thing. It makes sense. It's holistic. The
And
way,
I've also read like motherfucking every book. I've read Dr. Sebi
yeah.
about alkalinity, medical medium. There's real doctors out there right
Mhm.
now curing diseases that they say is chronic diseases when you go to a doctor.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have real cures going raw vegan and stuff for a while to literally cure so many diseases, fasting for long periods to shrink cancers. And if you just don't listen to the doctor and you go check actual people that have done it online, you have all information to yourself online. And
Mhm.
literally like the first doctors in Greece and stuff like Hippocrates, whatever the fuck he was called, said be your own doctor.
Yeah. If
Everybody should be their own doctor.
yeah.
Everybody should understand how their human vessel works and functions.
Yeah, definitely, 100%, and that's a lot of people are very disconnected from that. A lot of it stems from a lot of people don't want to take responsibility because of the sea of shit they buried themselves in for so many years of their poor lifestyle. But it's like, yeah, you are a human. Everyone else is a human. So like, why are you seeking to go to other people for medical help? I understand, but uh, becoming your own doctor is very wise. Nobody, I really, I'm like a very crazy on the health, and they even have a label for it in the West, as they have labels for everything. It was like, if you care about your health too much, it's considered like unhealthy and neurotic. I can see how that could somewhat be the case, but people actually like, they think that I'm the anomaly for caring about my health, but then meanwhile so many people suffer, and I feel like I somewhat have the solution, which is what we're speaking of here with Dr. Sebi and people of this nature. And then when you try to liberate people, maybe go, if they're suffering and you're like, okay, maybe I have the solution. I've heard about breath work and all this crazy shit from other cultures they won't really tell you about. The medical industry sounds like some conspiracy built for profit, whatever. And then they're like, and then they get offended because they think you're preaching. It's like, no. And it's like,
Yeah, but they're preaching.
they just don't realize it because everyone's under the same paradigm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy. But one funny thing also, I was watching a celestial diet thing on YouTube, and they were mentioning experiment in Russia where they fed like kids like super healthy food in schools, but they were really non-emotional. They were really only logic. They didn't give any love. They didn't laugh with the kids or anything. And all of those kids lost weight and became unhappy and stuff. And then they fed the kids like really shitty food, like fast food and stuff, but had teachers were really loving, compassionate, painting with them, laughing with them, and they were really healthy children. So truly love transcends all. Like even in what you were talking about, people being unhealthy when they just want healthy food all the time, to when then you eat something unhealthy and you stress, oh, I ate something unhealthy, I'm supposed to be so healthy.
Yeah.
For example, you can transmute like anything if you give thanks. If you say thank you before you eat, if you say I love life, you can make literally your attitude can transform poison into the biggest blessing. So reality isn't really so serious. Like I was raw vegan. I was really hardcore. I was really like anti people eating meat and like anti people eating even milk and yogurt and all these things. And I got really skinny, but I also cured a lot of my stomach problems and stuff. But then I realized in my consciousness I had this all of a sudden almost like anti some things of life that is just natural people giving you at parties or social gatherings where you just can say thank you and eat it and just be like, I don't care what's inside it. I don't need to be like, oh, this is that poison, like what does it contain. Like sometimes those thought patterns of analyzing and criticizing and judging everything all the time can become really unhealthy too.
Yeah, you are definitely right. I've definitely had that uh in many ways. So there's a study that's very profound. It's quite known universally now, but it's like that basically the number one factor to longevity is relationships, family and friends. So this, and then
Yeah.
I've found I'm normally quite alone these days. I did meet up with some very conscious people about a month or so ago, and with the presence of these people, reflecting myself and all gaining insights about each other, it's like I felt how that was actually physically healthy just to be around a good conscious tribe of like-minded people. And I definitely know what you mean. It's not all the diet, and health can definitely become like, the ironic thing is, if you eat something unhealthy and then you beat yourself up about, this is unhealthy, I'm not going to be doing this, and then you do it, like that actually lowers your immune system anyway because you're stressing about it. So everything's always in this like loopy fashion where you're just like, but yeah,
The
that's
truth
yeah.
actually is that this whole world is kind of a placebo effect. It's like you're creating an empty structure of consciousness through your beliefs. So when you give thanks as something being a gift of life, a gift of God, that everything is made out of the pure source life force, that everything is the same thing, everything in an expression of one energy, then you can transmute anything. Like you can literally eat anything, and it will not. It will still be like less healthy than some things, but it will not affect your being in the same way. You will not get cancer from things and stuff like that because you're not actually putting your mind into making your body feel fight or flight state. You're always in rest and digest because you're always giving thanks. You're always praising life. Like,
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, that it's a very good perspective for those who are like somewhat neurotic about health. Because when I found out everything was poison, as it seems, there's
if you listen to trolls,
yeah, and many people. It's
that's
just over the years I've had to cultivate caring about my
I
health.
did too.
Yeah, and then but then yeah, it's like it's not worth stressing about. Just do the best you can do, and being okay with what's available there and then, and giving thanks for it.
Yeah,
Is really the way to go. You don't want to be stressing about how, because it's hard to get away from it in certain places. Here, I struggle with it quite a bit,
exactly.
in terms of
Just
just.
like
Mm,
the most pure consciousness people, self-realized masters, don't check the ingredients of the food they're offered. They say thank you. This is a gift from God.
yeah,
Like, it's really, it's not the physical things themselves. They are a reflection of you. It's the vibration you're holding when you're consuming them.
I know what you mean in terms like I know there were who what's his name? It's like Ramanachi. I can't remember. Ramanathi Muhashi or something. Um,
Ramanama.
yeah, because he was so like conscious and awake that there was nothing that could mediate his like awake state, and he didn't exercise or nothing. He ended up getting cancer in the end, I think. But uh, it's like you don't. It really does seem fundamentally there is absolutely no circumstance that will ultimately bring you satisfaction. It has to come from within, and you think that you have these like, if I had this desire fulfilled, if my situation was different. It's what we were on about accepting the presence and stop living in the future. You think that you have all these and you would be happy if this, if that. But it seems there are individuals that just conclude that this is actually not the case, and it actually all comes from within and the way that you interpret your situation, regardless of how dire it seems on the surface. It seems to really ultimately, and it can be very challenging. Like, when I heard it's all an internal game, it's all in the mind, I thought, well, good, I'm quite good at the mind, but you don't realise how deep it goes, because it's like everything that seems to be physical ultimately concludes in it actually being an internal game.
Yeah. Everything is a projection of the mind, the whole world you see. And that's why also, if you truly learn how to return to your 0 point, to your awareness, and not even learn, just realize yourself properly, who you are, who am I? You say, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And check, am I the fucking thought that come or go, or am I this eternal thing? And then rest as your eternal being. And the truth about being completely present and seeing everything as God, if you want to call it that, seeing everything as love, seeing everything as life, whatever you want to call it, then you are life, and it knows all your heart's wishes. Like, it's literally like your higher self from the future guiding you through intuition. Like, you just surrender to yourself.
Mm.
And literally, like, all is taken care of. It's said in like every religion, find the kingdom of God within, and all shall be added on to you.
Yeah, that's where it's liberating to realize how it all really is an internal game, and you can, like, heaven on earth is cultivatable by, like, instead of like going to fulfill your desires, which you can do in a healthy manner, but you actually just turn within and deconstruct the very mechanism of that constructs the desire in the first place. And so instead of seeking externally, you realize it's all created inside, the narrative, the thoughts, and you can turn within and observe.
You trace it back.
Yeah. And then
Trace it back to the source.
So what we was on about, so I want to get into because you say a lot, we'll get into it shortly, I think, about like reality is love, unconditional love. I'm very interested in that. But before we, like, because we was originally on the eco village and stuff. I don't. Do you mind if we get back to that quickly? Because I wanted to.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to know, like, how. My original idea, and this is what I was speaking of psychedelic actualization, as someone who I'd honestly feel quite pressured in. So I've got a place here that I have to pay for, and I've got a job, and I have to be here, basically all the time, like, and it's quite particular the way we live. There are a lot of luxuries that come with it. But when I started to look at, for example, the first time I was doing a live stream on 7 grams of mushrooms on my channel, and I was reacting to ayahuasca retreat testimonies. And then as I was doing this, I was like, who the fuck are these people? And I started looking at the channel, and I was like, do they just like... this is what I was saying originally about how a lot of people, like, I feel like we don't understand the full extent of the miracle life can be, because when you look at other cultures and their day-to-day and how they live with intention and community, and it's like holistic, organic, healthy, it seems. So originally, and then this is what I was talking to with psychedelic actualization on the last interview, that but I cut it off before we got to that point. It's like where are these communities? How can someone potentially traverse to one and integrate with one? And just, what's your experience of how is the lifestyle in these places? What are the pros and the cons? Like, you travel quite a bit, and you seem to integrate here and there. I saw you planting some coffee seeds for some villagers and that with your girlfriend, and it's just like, it just seems what my soul has been longing for, something of that nature. But instead I'm just in some grid where I'm just like pressed with money.
Yeah, but really there's plenty of places. There's places in Portugal, there's places in Nepal, like those are mostly the places I know, but there's in India, I bet you that there's even close to where you live and stuff, because we even have some in Sweden, like, if you really look for it, like, try to live a community life for a while, no matter where you are. But like the one we went to Nepal, it was just us in that place, and it was a kitchen with gas and stuff. But the toilet is just a hole with a thing, so you're like pooping in a hole and washing your ass with water and stuff. Like, so you gotta be comfortable sleeping on like just a little thing somewhere. It's still like kind of bed, but like thin mattresses, and just like not having the comforts of life. And then we just walked around, like bought local food from the neighbors, and if we needed something more, we took the bus down to get like rice, like a lot of rice or whatever we needed, fruit from the market. And it's just like it's super easy to find. If you used to go look online for communities, then you want to live in communities and try that out. But what you gotta remember is you're leaving away all the comforts of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just gotta be ready for that. Some normal people are not like.
Yeah, I definitely see why people
like pooping outside, like, or pooping anywhere if you need to and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, you get the luxuries, but at some extent it's like, at what cost? Because the pressure is on for a lot of people. I made my channel originally when I took 4 grams, and they kind of gave me the insight that my life is going down the drain somewhat. And I know it's all an internal go back. It was like, I was spending like 10.5 hours just traversing to work, doing like a full blast shift for minimum wage, coming back, and it's like, what am I doing? So it's why I started looking at these other ways of living, because it just seems so radically different. So I want to ask, like, what is your... You say you live up there for free, right, in that one example.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Because I don't like... I mean... I don't... I just struggle to... Obviously,
I still had to get like food from the neighbors and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and food from the market, and cook our own food. But the guy who built it was like a psychonaut man in Nepal that's just helping the awakening.
Yeah, that's
And he just
mad.
wanted spiritual people up there.
So it's like... It's not like I'm unwilling to work. So that's why I was thinking originally, like... I was like, my vision was, I'm going to go to an ayahuasca center, and this is what a psychedelic actualization done. He went to an ayahuasca center. He asked to integrate into that community, and after what they were like, yeah, if like, because he wanted to become like a shaman, and just the idea of
You
yeah, go on.
don't go to a
No.
retreat and become a shaman. Take your own
Yeah.
psychedelics, big doses, and initiate yourself being able to walk through time and space as a lucid master. Like, walk yourself comfortably through the Akashic records and remembering who you are, taking big doses. Like, that's the way to become a shaman, to walk through the spirit world effortlessly.
100%. I've
They're
definitely.
not gonna, they don't teach you that at a fucking shaman retreat.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm quite good with psychedelics. I've always taken them on my ones, big doses of mushrooms mainly, and yeah, it's that probably wouldn't be my vision now, but it was just like mainly like I was just looking at other lifestyles, and I was like, it was
Yeah,
like as
yeah,
soon
yeah.
as I discovered that, it was just like,
I recommend to travel, bro. Save some
yeah,
money and go to Asia or something, and then the presence of God will take care of you. You will end up at all the perfect places at the perfect moments all the time. Just get out of the box. Save up some money. It's really cheap in India and Nepal. You need like no money to survive, and then you will end up at some ashram or something in the mountain. You will be exactly. And the best service you can do to the whole world is to realize self properly, because that's cleaning up the inner mirror of the whole world so we can return to the golden age, the new earth. The fifth dimension, if you want to call that. People think the fifth dimension is some other place, but it's here on earth, completely present.
the power of a community of people who are aware. This is what I was saying when I met up with like-minded people. It's like the ability, like the we all have the ability to create and manifest our own reality, but when that's compounded by like-minded people, especially with your own land and your own resource, it's like you can really create. And you've seen some of those places. Go into the fucking eco village with some psychonaut who just lets you live there for free. It's like, I feel like, it's not that it's literally, but when I found that there's more potential, world different potential, it's like, I felt like everything I'd known was a lie, because all I'd ever known is the grid, go get a job, and like,
Yeah,
letters through the door, you owe
of
me
course.
this, and it's like, when I saw that, it just blew my mind. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
Because I recommend, like, truly for everyone to just follow their heart, because their heart knows what to do. And if your heart is to stay in the grid and create art to get out of the grid, then do that. But if your way is to save up some money and then go travel and find out what your thing is, then fucking do that, because traveling will show you. Like, your heart will be your compass when you travel, and it becomes so clear, like, because it's, you cannot miss it when it's happening, like every moment when you're not in this little box of schedules, when every moment just seems like it's aligned and like poof, 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 matching everything, completely synchronized, like it's out of
Yeah,
this world.
I get you. It's much more like holistic way of, because like you say, you're not just clocking in, clocking out, paying the bills. You're literally like on a journey, and you're working here and there maybe to get money, or you say it's cheap. You're just traveling, and then it's just like, and then that's how you get much more into the flow state, because it is like your whole being is just a flow of
Yeah,
like progressing on this
and
adventure.
And there you find, in that full flow state, you find your heart, you find yourself, you find your awareness. And when you find your awareness in all traditions, in Buddhism and everything, you get like one proper like lucid heart wish to like manifest whatever you want.
How do you mean? So
You
that.
can manifest more things, but when you reach your heart,
Hmm.
you get to fulfill your life's dream.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, from the ground up. So tell me that whole bit again. That whole last bit of what you get to. But I understand. Yeah, you manifest. I think I know what you mean. Like you discover
It's
your.
almost like all the things you dream about, all the things you think about that you're trying to manifest, when you reach your heart, it's done.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Like you reach your center and you're authentic and you fully self-realize, and then it's all you have
You're
it.
fully there, but
Mm.
the concept of you is gone because you don't need to try anymore.
Do you mind taking me through like, just overall, like what was your like day to day somewhat when you're in these kind of like eco sort of lifestyles? Like, are there like, what do you do? Just wake up,
In that one in Nepal, it was the most chill ever. It was just waking up, smoke, yoga, pranayama, go on a walk, look at the mountains, go to the neighbor, get raw milk from the buffalo tits in the morning, drink like a liter of milk in the morning, and just it was just straight chilling, just practicing yoga, connecting to self, stabilizing awareness, and practicing moving chi up and down the channels. Like,
and then it's just the same
I was
thing
just
again tomorrow. So it's just like this is why it's like heaven on earth.
yeah, it was just paradise every day. It was literally like it feels the same now. Like that's the thing. Now I've gone on this long journey. So I went to Portugal for like a year, also lived in a community, and it was also there. It was just the mountains. But when I was in Portugal, I found a girl selling acid, like liquid acid, making it. So she had it fucked up, and it was really cheap. So I did acid every day for like 6 months
You
in the mountain.
you lucky cunt. See, I always like find when now I've come to conclude. People are like, oh, you don't think it's too much? It's like my literal phrase is just the more mushrooms the better. They don't seem to like they just heighten my consciousness, and I've always wanted to go like balls to the wall with
It's just not good when you're in society, in responsibilities, in
Mhm.
schedules, and people expecting you to do things.
Yeah.
When you're in a place when you're completely free, I had a caravan in the mountains. I had no responsibilities whatsoever. It was me, my caravan, and some friends in the mountains. Like I could do whatever I wanted for as many days as I wanted. Like I just took acid every day,
That's incredible
and
to
it was
me.
the most beneficial thing I've ever done in my life. Like literally, nothing has helped me as much as doing that. Like
See, one of the main reasons why I wanted to like say go to like an ayahuasca center or was my first idea, or just let's say like I think it was Nepal when you was at the on living on the mountain just doing yoga and eating good and everything, like is for their health, or just there must be like a lot of the people from the ayahuasca centers say there's like a recharging, like rejuvenating, re-energize that happens. And when you're like living on the mountain for not much and you just get to, or for free, and you just get to like breathe and exercise and meditate and eat good, and then again tomorrow, and you're just free, or you have like 6 months of just freedom with your friends and on free land with psychedelics and good food. It's like, do you not just like regenerate fucking from the inside out, like full blast? You know?
yeah, bro, I literally feel like if I keep doing this, I'm not gonna die this time.
Yeah. So this is why, like, I don't want to just hammer down on the point of the eco village, but it just like I say, it just completely shattered my paradigm when this is all I've ever known, and then to see literal what you're describing to me is just basically the quintessence of freedom. You don't have the luxuries of the Western world, but you're healthy, because you don't have to spend your day avoiding pollution in toxic work environments or anything of that nature. You just eat from the land in a happy, conscious community that lives with intention to respect the land and respect God and the Tao, and then it's just like, this is why I say it's just heaven on earth. You're waking up on a fucking mountain. I mean, there you go. To me, it's just like.
But then you do that, and then you bring the bodhisattva back into this, and wake people up.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the it's in turning your gaze withinwards and cleaning your internal world is the way to manifest the world you want. 100%. It's the best duty everyone can do is purifying themselves spiritually.
Yeah, for sure. Just really, really find out who you are. Like, who am I? Because if you really think about it, who are you? Like, more than your name.
I've definitely thought about that a lot, and that question is way bigger if I'm on a heavy dose of mushrooms. What I've concluded, if you want to get into that, like, I think the furthest I got somewhat, or who am I, is such a big question. It's so, like, people, like, disregard that question, like, who am I? I'm just me, my name and my age, but I think what I ultimately concluded, I guess, is that ultimately we're consciousness, infinite consciousness. There is a screen, an horizon phenomenon, and you are the screen, or you are the awareness of the screen, or, who do you think we are?
Yeah. Basically, yeah, what you're saying, but I realized I took a few big doses where I took acid, but I didn't know about psychedelics properly, and I took like liquid acid, like 400 mics, and I was like, holy shit, I'm God, like what the fuck? And I like walked through dimensions, and I saw some past lives I had that was like behind my back, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's like everybody's God, and everybody's the eternal soul of God, and there's like orbs spinning around me, like showing me how we used to live in nature and live for thousands of years. And I was like, whoa. And then, like, when I was in Portugal, I took like 3,700 mics one day, and then like boom, like I didn't even go out of my body. Everything just became 100% the top source consciousness, the highest form of consciousness, fully present in every atom, in every molecule, in every tree. And it was just me. I was touching myself. I could talk to myself how it feels to be in a tree. I could touch the water and talk to the water as myself, and how the water feels to flow around. Like everything was the exact same thing, just playing with itself.
Nice.
And then I realized I'm fucking God.
Jeez.
And everyone is.
Yeah.
I had like my first Kundalini awakening. Like I just want to say it, just like Mr. Traumatic. Like I listened after my first God trip. I was like, holy shit, what is acid? And then I felt weird for a few months. Then I found Mr. Traumatic's music, really listened, and then I took 600 mics of liquid acid for when it peak came. Truth Hurts. I put on the first song to Truth Hurts to the last song in a row, and in the last, like I saw so much, like, and it was so crazy. It was like I saw Trumps like higher form, more than just a human and everything, like in another dimension. And then I came back and I'm like, holy shit, we are God in like higher entities form, playing in avatars. Like what the fuck?
I know, I'm very familiar with his Truth Hurts album. Like I was waiting for it to come out. He was actually responsible. I made a video like how he saved my life. If I didn't find Traumatic, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have found this rabbit hole of spirituality. I'm
Mr. Nature. Like I took the Mr. from Trumps. Like
oh yeah,
like MR Nature.
yeah. So you listened to the whole Truth Hurts album while like peaking on LSD.
Yeah, and I had a full-blown Kundalini. In the Chakra song, my Kundalini activated fully, like, poof, just electricity up my spine, pure bliss. I felt the crown open, and I just flew out of my body, and I saw Trom's higher entity in a higher dimension. Like, orchestrating this whole thing, and I was like, oh, holy motherfucking shit! Like,
That album, I actually listened to Chakras on a heavy dose of mushrooms as well. That album fucks that. It blows my mind when I'm on psychedelics, especially. It's so genius.
yeah, it's a fucking genius.
So I've literally been. This interview is like definitely a different nature to the other. Like in terms of like, I've had a very good, and I actually feel like I've learned a lot. So it's getting on an hour. I'm very happy to keep going. When do you, or do you, are you happy to keep going for now, or it's up to you, man?
I'm totally free, bro.
Yeah, excellent. Because I think I want to keep this going for a bit. But just let me know. It's whatever's best for you. But I reckon, let's get into a bit of talk about psychedelics. I feel like we probably, this is like the main point. Like I said, like before we got on the call, I was like, we both know psychedelics very well. I only know like heavy mushrooms, really. I've done a few LSD here and there, but you like, how was your, for example, taking the LSD for 6 months? Was that like, did you get to like some next alien shit, or what the fuck? Like, how did that go? Or was that lower doses, or?
No, it was just after that big 3,700 trip. It was just like pure presence. It was just like I was walking in the hand of God. There was like no me. There was just life, like and I was just enjoying it, and I didn't. It just felt like the acid was rejuvenating my body. It felt like it was healing my cells. Like, so there was no reason to stop. Like,
Yeah.
and I just like it was just like a healing process. It just felt great. Like in the end of the month, the visuals was less, but then if I still took like 1,000 mics, I was still tripping hard with geometry everywhere. Like so, like I took it for months, and people say like, "Oh, you really lose a tolerance and stuff like this," but I had really good liquid LSD.
So you say like before, on that dose where you realise that you're God, kind of like you said, you wasn't too familiar with the capabilities of psycho, and you took like a crazy dose, and then you like, did it kind of put you on your ass? Were you not expecting it at all, or like?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all. I was like a druggie. I was doing like all kinds of drugs, like opiates, benzos, amphetamines, whatever. Like I was trying everything. But then I started getting a little bit into psychedelics and like finding it to be fun, and laugh with my friends and take some mushrooms. Tried acid a few times. And then I got liquid LSD from some witchy lady that was like, "No, I don't want to sell you this. This is for rainbow children." And I was like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about? Give me acid, like just give me the drugs. Come on, here's some money." Like,
Yeah.
and then I bought like I don't like it was like 3 drops, and it was like 140 mics per drop or something. And I took all 3, and when it kicked, it was like boom, full soul remembers, God consciousness, like past lives. It's like intelligence orbs around me. I'm seeing my whole life, even this life, play in front of me on a screen, spin like, and then other lives, my past lives, and literally, and then like I'm walking through dimensions with orbs showing me like, here's this dimension, here's the 5th, here's this, and here's the structure of reality, here's the sacred geometry, this is how it flows, here's the starting point. And it was just like boom. And then I came back, and it was with a normal friend, and then he was I've been sitting around his house like, "I'm God, I saw the whole world, like, oh, I figured it out, bro, like you're in heaven," like. And he thought I was going cuckoo banana. So when I come down and I'm like, "What the fuck happened? Like, I'm Rob, or am I God?" And he's like, "Bro, you're Rob. You just had a psychosis. You were just having a psychosis, bro." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure I'm God."
Yeah.
Like, it's something just happened. But
So
then it took me like 3 months to figure that out, like, and just go home and think about it, and like just meditate, read a little bit about meditation and some things, and then started hearing spiritual music, and then I started reading about self-realization, and then I really got it. And then I went to Portugal with this intention, like, to take psychedelics and really realize self, like really find God properly, like stabilize.
So I did have a question as well. It ties into this quite nicely of just like your story and was you always this way? So you saying you were taking all sorts of synthetic random drugs. I assume therefore you didn't really give, or you wasn't really on your health too. Was you literally just like normal, was in like the friend who you were chilling with? You weren't really on the spiritual stuff. Maybe you heard a little bit about
No,
what.
I was an atheist, and I thought the people who were talking about like angels and stuff, like of my friends, were crazy. I thought religion was stupid. I was just like a gamer,
Yeah.
like going to the gym a little bit and like doing drugs, like.
And then you take some fat dose of LSD, radically underestimate it, and then realize you're God. And then here you are.
Yeah, here I am. That's basically what happened in a nutshell.
It's mad. It's crazy to me how, like, this is what I say to people, like, people think, like, I know, like, Andrew Tate has a clip that people keep sending me, like, my normal friends. They send me Andrew Tate, and he's like, oh, someone's behind you, by the way. Who is it? Is it Sunshine? Miss Sunshine?
Yeah. Say hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Oh, she can't hear, can she?
No, she can't hear you.
She's like, oh, what's that I smell? And he left.
Yeah, she rolled a joint.
Oh god, I long for like just going off, just like the whole your lifestyle is where I'm headed. I hope in terms of like the traveling and the this is actually was my goal is to like basically I show symptoms supposedly of our culture. I realise that I really don't fit into the way that things are done here, I think. And this was I think a lot of the reasons why I was struggling so much. And then my kind of goal setting out was like all I've done is vlog and film and do things of this nature and talking to people like you, and I want to like build a life where I'm much more free and basically mirror what you're doing and tell people it is possible to, and then just so you know, I'm not saying it'll be the holy grail out there, but just like open people's minds of where we come from, what's possible, and that's kind of where I'm headed anyway. But I hope.
Yeah, you really should follow that. I think it's literally the best thing anyone can do is to really travel and see the world a little bit and really share it, that it's possible and it doesn't take so much. And it's so much fun. And it brings you back home to your soul, really, like, to be completely honest.
Yeah. That's why, because when I look at your stuff, it's just like, I feel like so many people are longing for, like, a life of exploration instead of people live around here like cogs in machines, and most people are actually pretty miserable. And it's the only reason why I ever preach anything is because I'm like, we're miserable, I believe, a lot. Like, our Traumatics says, like, mental health and depression are side effects of living in a evil society, and it's just like, not necessarily, but it's just, I feel a lot of it stems from the way that we live, and we're not healthy over here.
Yeah, for sure.
What I was gonna say, yeah, go on. I'll let you say that first.
No, go on, bro.
All right. Well, it was irrelevant to what we're speaking on here. I was gonna say we were on about earlier when I said you was just like when we were on about how you were basically normal, and then you took a crazy dose of LSD, and this like blew a hole in your what you thought was possible. I say to people. It's not that I form a belief about the psychedelics or anything, it's that it does not matter who you are. If you take 5 grams of mushrooms in silent darkness or whatever, you will go through like infinite vistas of visions.
Yeah.
And that will happen to anybody. So it's not a belief system. It's that if you like, because I was on about Andrew Tate. He says, I don't want to go to South America and take ayahuasca and then throw up on yourself and lie to me about how you saw spirits. And I'm like, that's not how it is. It's like, if you take this compound, this will happen to you, regardless if you want to form a belief. It's how Terence McKenna approaches it. He's like, he doesn't believe in it like an ideology. He just takes it and goes, oh my fucking god. And gets shown things, and then there you are. And that's what happened to you. And now, here you are.
Exactly. For me, it's like psychedelics does the opposite of what a belief even is.
Yeah.
It literally shatters all beliefs and all dogmas and all superstitions and all religions, even. Like it just shows you the core of reality, whether you like it or not, or whether you believe in it or not. Like that's why a true shaman is someone who is like all ancient, like yogic books and Vedanta and Hinduism and all of these things, all these masters before these ages of society that we live in now, they were explorers of consciousness. They were masters of consciousness. They were all alchemists in Egypt, in India. They were all practicing taking heavy doses of psychedelics. Like the tree of life is the Acacia tree in Egypt. Like the advanced civilizations that lived in tune with spirit and really long like gods all used psychedelics.
Yeah, 100. I agree with I concluded a while ago that psychedelics decondition you, I find. They like dissolve boundaries, belief systems. And that's partly why I think they're illegal, because they threaten, they open your mind to new possibilities outside of potentially why a lot of us are in this grid, as if potentially we're in some like tax farm for the elites or some madness. But it's like they dissolve programming. Therefore, they're
Yeah,
dangerous to someone who could potentially be trying to program you.
they are liberation. They are self-realization. Like some people say, like psychedelics will not give you everything. Psychedelics will give you everything. If you're willing and you're looking hard enough and you take it with an open heart and you want truth, nothing but the truth. Psychedelics will give you everything. They will show you who you are. You can explore the universe. You can see the universe before it was created. You can fly through galaxies, cosmos, aliens. You can see the whole spectrum of light of different dimensions, all happening in one moment. And you can move between these moments. It's the same thing as like in yoga, you practice and activate your crown chakra. You practice to move Kundalini. Psychedelics are Kundalini energy. Psychedelics are Soma, it's called in ancient Hinduism, in Vedanta. They all used psychedelics to activate Kundalini.
Yeah. Um. I half had a question,
Mm.
but it dissolved. It left.
Hit me with anything, bro.
Sorry.
Hit me with anything, bro.
Um. I'll check my list maybe. Oh yeah. All right. I reckon what we should conclude with. So this is so. Oh, maybe not. So what I was gonna say is like, because you talk a lot about how reality is love. I know that I'm probably yet to awaken. Because I seem to go up like a hierarchy and progress, where it's like I can be aware that there's someone says somewhere that self-love, and then I don't really get it, and then like a year later I'll take a massive dose of mushrooms and then realize self-love. I don't know if I've really got
Yeah.
yet the reality is love. There are so many people who say the same teaching, the same nature. Reality is love. And you would agree, like in plain words, like how can you
Mm.
say that to me? And then how can you communicate that truth to me through words, if that's even
In
possible?
logical, most logical mind, I can say it at least is, let's say let's say God is love, and you are God experiencing itself.
All right. So if logic even works, why is God love? Can you tell me that?
Because it's pure creativity, it's pure joy, it's just pure creation. It's just so intelligent that it could like look at your own body, look at nature, look at geometry, look at your chakra
Yeah.
system, look at your glands, look at your pineal gland, look at your brain, all of these things, see how extremely intelligent this love is to create itself into this form, to experience itself in such a variety of ways.
Yeah. I don't like.
And 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 the love to truly feel that is the heart chakra. You open the heart chakra fully.
It has to be like, I know, like when I'm asking, I'm like, tell me why it's love. And what I was saying originally is, like, I understand that I have to actually understand this, like, within my body. It's nothing that you can necessarily, you can't like tell people who aren't ready to realize this stuff that this is the case, because they're like, no, it isn't. It's matter or some
But
story.
in the Bhagavad Gita, like the Hare Krishna book, and in Hinduism, what they call every soul is Sat, Chit, Ananda, and Sat is truth, Chit is existence, and Ananda is love or joy. We are truth, existence, love. Our existence is love itself, happiness itself, peace itself. How do you feel when you are in your natural state? Are you not peaceful? Do you not want compassion for everybody? Do you not love everybody? Do you not want the best for everybody?
If that is that a genuine question, like how do I feel normally? Well, I definitely,
In your most natural state.
Yeah, so in my most natural state, well, it's like, what was I going to ask earlier as well? That connects to this. Yeah, so I often, and I'm getting better with it as I awaken deeper, but I've had tremendous suffering, and it's all ultimately been by my own mind, really. Like, I've dealt with depression to the point where it's manifested and I've lost things and I've let people down around me. So ultimately I'm responsible, right? But so if reality is love, I would say, where does the suffering fit in? As you were saying, what's my normal state? Genuinely, I'm pretty joyful and content and vibrant. But I do.
In this state of being, you just don't suffer your experience. Every emotion is still there. You don't suffer those experiences.
But where does that belong in reality? I know that it's necessary for the dualities.
It belongs to an identification with a thought that is resistance and judgment to what is happening.
Yeah, it is a lot of judgment. That's what I've been looking at a lot. It's like I realise that a lot of it just stems from judging everything, interpreting where it's going to lead. So I guess
resistance and judgment is the root of suffering. So if you were to resist nothing and judge nothing, you would always be happy.
That's what I was saying earlier about how it's all in the mind, and but I like to tell myself, like recently I'm like, oh, this job is killing my soul, I hate my job, but now I know that it isn't really, it's all an internal game, and it's so mad to realise that. So I guess where the suffering fits into a reality of pure love is, well, you actually create it yourself. But
yeah,
alright, a lot of people, how about this? So the way I felt is like I got born into a reality. This was like way before. And then depression cultivated. I didn't know who I was. I didn't understand reality. There was no explanation. I had a deep desire for existential questions that were not fulfilled. I was in a confusing matrix with no explanation. I just seemed to have spawned in, and now I'm depressed. Where does that fit into how it's like infinite love, if that's even answerable? Like, where is it for someone to be born into poverty and suffering? And not saying that's necessarily me, but you know, you can have people get born in all sorts of horrible...
If you want to get that deep, it's karma. Because every soul, every individual form of God, which is a soul, eternal soul, comes in samsara, the world we're living in now, which is the reincarnation, the birth and death, carry karma. And into the birth of samsara, wait, I just dropped my headphone. You carry your next life's actions with you, because giving is receiving. So karma means action. So what you do is what you get, because the world is just a mirror. And if you do a lot of things out in the world that doesn't mirror back to you, and you didn't learn the karmic lessons, or you didn't realize yourself to go beyond samsara, then it keeps happening, and you keep reincarnating to fulfill these desires to be fulfilled of this karmic attachment.
Mm.
And then you come through, and that's why this world Kali Yuga exists. But simultaneously, there exists another Earth, which is a Sat Yuga, for example, where humans live forever, thousands of years. And this is samsara, where you reincarnate over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's karma. Self-realization ends karma, because then there's no separate self doing anything to hurt the self anymore. You realize it's all yourself, so you will always treat yourself the best. And then you don't put any karma that puts you back into reincarnation. And then you ascend what you call the fifth dimension of the Sat Yuga, which is eternal life, living in the Garden of Eden with physical immortality, in oneness where everyone is in God consciousness.
So what is, like, what would you say is like the, I don't know if you just answered it sort of there, but this is all like stuff I'm not super familiar with these grounds. Like what is, would you say, the purpose? Is there a purpose to what we're doing here now? Is there a process?
The purpose is what I said before: love, joy.
Yeah. Literally, it's just the presence, right? There's not really any other purpose but to live. And
Yeah, it's life itself. And any other meaning is your free will to create an extra meaning.
yeah, and it's always
And
you.
no belief is true.
Yeah,
There's no
literally, yeah.
true belief you can have,
Mm.
because reality is no matter what. But you can play with belief.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I actually realized this like on a heavy trip. I basically realized that this goes back to like, who are we, what are we? It's like you're like a matrix somewhat, and like you can form and play with this mechanism which is a mind, where you construct like ideas or like divisions and dualities, but that doesn't actually have to happen at all. And then there's like the existence, and then there's like this other like mechanism that people get confused and identified with, which is the mind that constructs narratives
Yeah.
and meanings. But that doesn't have to happen. So you are like, you can make a decision, well, technically, or you can make decisions, you can observe, you can form narrative, and that's why I say like we are a matrix. So, but like a lot of this, it doesn't need to happen. It's just like, you know
And
what I
it
mean?
doesn't need to control you, because this mechanism we're talking about is supposed to be our servant, our friend, our tool, and it has become our masters. And the society promotes it being our master. So everybody's stuck with the mind being the master. And the only way to resolve that is to find your true self, to realize yourself, go back to awareness, go back to emptiness. And then from there, when you are just life in the pure joy, then create your beliefs from compassion, wisdom, and understanding all of life.
Yeah, no belief ultimately. Like beliefs, like you say, aren't real. They're just they don't need to be formed. Um,
No, reality is without any belief.
yeah, it's crazy.
And that's what, like what you talked about, like Ramana Maharshi, like you said earlier. He was a guru that just realized self and didn't play with any belief. He just walked in God. Let life take care of itself. God is omnipresent, doing all things, moving birds, moving the water, doing everything. Know him, just God.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then in Hinduism, when you realize that, and then you play with the beliefs, then you call the realized self with siddhis. And siddhis means superhuman abilities. And then you can form reality through your belief systems, which is what trance is doing. Anything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I feel like Trorms knows what he's doing when when he has like these radical beliefs. So I was like, I don't think he actually
I
believes.
know Trump knows it's all love. Like I know 100% Trump knows it's all love.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know how you feel about ending it there. I'm not even. I could keep going, or but
What
I
do you
reckon.
prefer? I'm
Uh,
good.
I reckon we can end it. I guess. I mean, I don't want to like. I don't want to like
Yeah.
push it. I don't know if you like. Uh, half don't want to be here. You're like, because
No,
it's end
bro.
now.
I'm enjoying it. I'm
Yeah.
fully here, bro. I'm loving it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I let it roll for like another like 15 minutes or something at least. I definitely want to like keep it going. I think for a minute. But we'll end it shortly, and we can always come back for another one as well. I definitely, I
Of
really,
course.
I do enjoy talking to you. I find just on this call. I think you've lived a very. This is why people like Terence McKenna. I find you're in like the same sort of category for me as him, because it's you've actually been out and you've lived in these places. You've done the 6 months on acid, and it's like there's so much to learn, which is why I've really enjoyed our call. But I guess hmm, I don't know where to take it, to be fair.
Yeah, it's magic. When you take psychedelics, it's neurogenesis. Your
Yeah.
neurons and all your neural pathways are joining, and you're getting a hemisync. Your hemispheres are synchronizing, and you're opening your pineal gland. When you open your pineal gland, you know thyself. That's what happens.
What do you
You
think?
realize oneness.
Yeah, I definitely. The neurogenesis is like one of my favorite, because I'm very. You're obviously familiar with the brain scans of like mushrooms and LSD, how it's like literally superhuman consciousness, and the reason why it feels so impossible, because it literally is. It's like your brain is in some like hyper state that it can never act. You know how people like say, oh, you can only use 20% of the brain. Scientists are trying to figure out how to activate all of it. It's like psychedelics do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll tell you what, something I'm interested in. So, uh, educate me a bit on, if you can, like, so, like the Kundalini. I've never had nothing like with my spine at all. I feel like I've just ignored my spine like my whole life. So, like,
Yeah.
how can I? What are like the particular? Do you have like practices that can you like
I can
induce?
recommend breath work. Yeah, breath work is really pranayama
Yeah.
is the biggest way to really get your kundalini flowing. Pranayama is just Sanskrit in Hinduism for breath work practice.
Okay.
And I can show you so many, but I can show you the most simple one, which is the most natural one, in my opinion, is that you mimic nature, you mimic forces of nature. So, for example, waves, they just come and go.
Hmm.
They just come and go. They don't have a stopping point where the water stops moving. It's just moving back and forth like this. So you just mimic your breath. When you inhale, you're fully present and you breathe all the way in up, so your chest goes up like,
Yeah.
and you don't pause. You can slow it down or speed it up. Just do what's the most natural for you, but just fully inhale, and then every exhale you surrender. You relax, like you're relaxing on a day, like you come
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
from a hard day and you're like,
Yeah. Like let the breath like fall out and you sink into your.
yeah,
Yeah.
you sink down with the breath, let
Yeah.
gravity exhale for you, and you just focus on the inhale, and you do that 5 minutes. If we were to do that 5 minutes now, you would feel your state of consciousness altered, and you would have a microdose of DMT in your brain. If you do that for 45 minutes, you're on DMT.
Yeah.
It's that powerful. People are just not practicing it.
Why do you... So, I got somewhat two questions. Like, so I was going to ask, like, so, like, your story of how you awoke to this way of being. I want to ask about that. And then I also want to ask, like, why people seem to be so in the shadows about this, especially in, like, it depends where you are. But, like, no one knows about this. Everyone thinks people are... So the way they approach the breath work is like, yeah, you're hyperventilating and your brain's fucking up, and that's why you think you're God. And then the psychedelics, they're like, oh yeah, you took drugs and now you think you're God. Obviously, you went crazy. Like, what do you have to say about people who, like, obviously you take a drug and now you think you're God?
Yeah.
So they go, oh, obviously the drugs fucked you up, right? And then people are very often concerned. They think. But tell me, like,
I can tell you pretty easily what I have to say about that, because like I experienced even with my own family, like because before I was just a druggo, I was just taking drugs, and then all of a sudden I took another drug, and all of a sudden I'm like, fuck it, I've solved it all. I'm gonna become super healthy. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna fix everything. I'm gonna become rich. I'm gonna make it on YouTube. Like, it's all good. I fixed it all. Like, don't worry about anything. I've talked to aliens in other dimensions. Like, don't you worry about anything. And they're like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then I also had like health issues. I had problems with my stomach. I didn't like, my body wasn't good. Like, literally I had like weird stomach cramps all the time, but I didn't really want to like put a label on it and go to the doctor properly and let them give me some fucking pill. So then when I started waking up, literally I solved all my health problems. I started doing yoga, breath work, raw vegan for like 6 months, like just healthy food. And then all of a sudden my family and friends and stuff like this just started noticing that, wait, he sounded crazy, but now he's actually healthier, more intelligent, more knowledgeable, has more information about things, knows how the body works, knows how the this works. All of a sudden, they just see, instead of like, people really don't believe until they get the direct experience of it.
Yeah.
So it takes like a while of you being yourself for them to drop the old concept of you that they're carrying,
Yeah.
when they see the benefits of it. Because what it really is returning to our true self, like being here, knowing we are a conscious co-creator with like God. We are the son of God. We are the same consciousness as God. And knowing that you are in tune with how life works, because you're in tune with the infinite intelligence that created us. So all the things they said, just let them say it, because like in my life now, years later, everyone is seeing I'm doing yoga all the time. I'm out in the woods. I'm only eating healthy. Like, I'm eating a lot of fruits all the time. I'm always happy. I always smile. I'm always peaceful. I don't have problems with anyone. Like, everything in my life is just flowing effortlessly. There's no obstacles. Like, and it shows after a while for even the people that were judging it. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what psychedelic actualization was saying. It's like people think you're crazy until they see how it profoundly manifests a beautiful life. And they're like, well,
yeah,
what can be bad about it? If it's the same stance on like religion, they're like, you don't like the benefits of religion could be seen as religion being validated for how it brings about goodness in the world.
yeah.
So people want to say like, oh, drugs are bad, but then when you use them, that's the same thing that happened with the psychedelic actualization. As he found psychedelics, people kind of initially thought he was crazy, and then over time he manifested a beautiful life, and that's kind of like why what I'm here. Like, I feel like I have like an obligation to not fuck up, because, for example, my friend, he's very spiritual. He took a 3.5 of mushrooms, and he actually ended his life on that experience. That was only a few weeks ago. And in a sense, not necessarily, but I feel like if I were to do something of that nature, I don't want to bring like a bad picture to the psyche. So if I can now manifest a beautiful life, I've kind of like done a
Yeah.
service to it, and then so this was my whole vision, is that like I'm in this thing. The psychedelics made me realize my life situation. Now I'm gonna manifest my dreams, and then if I can document that and succeed, just like how your family
Mm.
thought you were crazy at first until you manifested beauty, it kind of validates what you're doing for it. Like you don't need to speak, you don't need to convince people. It just shows.
Yeah. Yeah, and while speaking it, even without pushing it on people, just saying your truth without pushing your truth on people.
Hmm.
You don't have to convince people, you just share your opinion.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I like when I started out. I feel like, did you ever go through a phase? The same with the psychedelic actualization. We were talking about how we concluded that there's a phase that a lot of people go through. It's like, and the way I put it is, when you find the holy grail, which is psychedelics, you want to bring them back to the tribe and go, look what I found. This is the holy grail. And then everyone's like, you're crazy. Shut up. Did you ever go through a phase where you like tried to tell people like everything you like, the food is probably toxic,
Yeah.
or like about the awakening and this? Did you ever try to tell people about your truth?
Yeah, yeah, of course, too much in the beginning, but it's
Hmm.
also not too much because it's actually exactly what needed in that part of the journey. Like those people are so out of the box that maybe somewhere in their subconscious, like they needed to hear that for another moment to happen, like where someone said something similar, and then maybe, oh shit, some more people also think the same thing, and like so. If we just don't judge the process, actually everything is unfolding perfectly. Like,
Yeah, 100%. I do. There's such a great peace that comes with the knowing the divinity, especially about like death and that what's everything that is. The way I see it. Tell me if you have had this thought. And this is why people can think I'm in like some psychosis shit. It's like, I think now, not I feel like I know that regardless of all my judgments and my thoughts, it's like I feel everything that I ultimately want to manifest, or like in the end, or maybe in the now, maybe it's a misunderstanding, maybe I have it all now, but it's just like I feel somewhat, not in these exact words, but it's like God incarnates into like a finite thing to then awaken, and then I feel like I'm gonna like, because I'm playing this game with myself as God, there are no mistakes. So it's not like I'm going to end up in a rut and my life is just going to fade away into darkness. I feel like everything that I
mm,
like desire somewhat, not like, but it's going to be brought about because I'm God and I'm ultimately the one who decided to play this game. And now it's a journey of what
yeah,
you were saying, how everything unfolds exactly how it needs to unfold. Is that I believe so
yeah,
deeply in the process now that I feel like I'm here because this is the dream that I've decided somewhat. Do you know what I mean?
exactly, yeah, bro, exactly. It is exactly what you're saying. You're 100% on it, and it is the only the illusion left is a small identification with that you're already right. You're already right here, right now, perfected, and you could see this all clearly if you just didn't identify and grab onto thoughts and you just rested in that state because life is taking care of itself. It's a dance, it's a joy, and what you were saying is there is truly no mistakes, there is only learning and playing.
Yeah, 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 literally.
So there's just trust, basically. Trust in yourself. Trust, you can call it trust in God, but it's technically just trusting yourself, loving yourself enough, which is why I'm saying it's unconditional love
Yeah, I think
because
I
you
understand.
are love. The world is love. It's just
Yeah, I think I understand. And like, even if at one point you're in a like a what I was saying about like what about the people who incarnate into like a horrible life situation? It's like, but in the end, you always awaken, and then that
yeah.
kind of
It's just like let's just say you have a flower, and those people that are right there now that having looking like they're having horrible lives, they're just the seed under the soil, and the sun is still shining on it for it to grow. And then it starts popping up, and then it blooms. And when it blooms, their karma is free and they enter nirvana. And no one actually died, no one actually suffered. It was only happening within time and space. In the eternal form of the soul, if you can't die, isn't dying and suffering is just an illusion of not remembering that you can't die.
Yeah, I I definitely know. Like, I embody the and it's crazy how, like, this is how, like, Alan Watts puts it. It's like this phenomenon of awakening. It's not a belief system. It's like it's an experience, and it happens to
Yeah.
people across any culture, any tradition, anyone. People just awaken, and then with this comes truths like immortality as infinite consciousness, and then it's like, because I realised on, like, I took like 3.5 of mushrooms, and the next day I took 5 grams, like, months ago, and I literally realised immortality. That was not, like, in my brain at all. It just happened to me, and since then I've embodied that non-existence doesn't exist by its own definition, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy how it comes about.
It's crazy, and that's why it's really cool. I really recommend to study like Hinduism,
Yep.
because the Hindus, they were masters of consciousness. They mapped out the whole cosmic cycle, because infinity in maths is a circle. Real infinity is a circle. It's not like many places like this.
Mhm.
Real infinity is just a circle spinning like this. And they mapped out the cycle, the circle of eternal consciousness of humanity. And it goes from golden age to silver age to copper age to dark age. And then it goes to, like, I don't remember the one after, but then it goes back to golden age. And in the cycle we're in now is the dark age, which is also called the Kali Yuga in their words. And in Kali Yuga, even they wrote these texts thousands of years ago. They said, then you live only like, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. There's going to be war. The people controlling the planet are going to be just money hungry. They're going to be greedy. They're not going to care about people. There's going to be disease. There's going to be just liars everywhere. And then in this text it says, like, in the Sat Yuga, in the golden age, then you live like minimum 10,000 years, 100,000 years. You don't eat animals. The whole planet is at peace. Everybody's in God consciousness. Everybody's well aware of that we're the son of God, at God at the same time, like we're pure souls. There's no duality whatsoever. So it's really cool to study Hinduism. It's really cool. It really, they mapped it all out. Like, they already figured it out. They went to the timeless consciousness and just, like,
Yeah, yeah.
mapped it all out.
It's crazy, and that's the thing, a mad thing as well, because, like, people think that the answers, like, all the Western scientists and philosophers are like, oh, what's the meaning of life? Who knows? Just like armchair philosophy. But then, like, and that's how Terence McKenna puts it, is like psychedelics hold the answer, especially. And it's like people who, like me, I've been longing for existential questions for years, just an intuition, and then I'm like literally finding the answers through psychedelics and talking to like-minded people. And then, so what you were just speaking on there is like the circle of how it's in the dark age, and then it goes round to the golden age. This is what I was on about how me, you, a god. This isn't a fluke, and everything that is, like, everything will come to fruition, even in, like, I know that you were on about in like a societal way of like the golden age, and then, like, you know, we're in like tyrannical bullshit now, in some tax farm grid madness, and then it will go back round to the golden age. But even like within my own life, I feel like it's not a fluke in terms of, I feel I will live and you will live to, if there's unmet desires in terms of you want to see healthy community of people living in the golden age, I feel like that will somewhat happen within, like, your, well, definitely within your consciousness. But it's not a mistake. And the way I see it, I reckon like somewhat what's going to happen is like because I was born into the like basically the opposite culture where I want to be, and I feel by the end of it, I'm going to be within those people with God consciousness, psychonauts, and living in my own golden age as I'm the creator of all of this shit from the get-go. Therefore, I set out on like, it's like a real life fairy tale adventure. It's like way Alan Watts puts it, it's like you forget that you're dreaming. And there is suffering, but it's just because it's like, if there wasn't, there wouldn't be anything at stake, and it wouldn't be a cool dream, because you'd know it was a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then remembering it makes it even more awesome, like while forgetting it. So it's like it just becomes the best fairy tale ever, like you said, just the best movie ever. And I truly believe it will happen to the whole Earth this time. Like I truly believe that we are. It's so fast right now. Consciousness is everywhere. Like it's really psychedelics are becoming mainstream and legalized and things. And as soon as people start tapping into this, just more and more alternative communities and lifestyle will start popping up with rich people buying lands all over the world, and we're just gonna migrate out of Babylon, out of the Matrix, and just start living.
That's exactly like, and then it just feels like I couldn't have thought of a better movie, or like when I come down from like some God consciousness off mushrooms, I started watching the news about, the economy's collapsing, and I was getting really into it, like, oh no, the economy's collapsing, and then I'm like, yeah, whatever, God. There's this picture, actually, I won't be able to find it, it's like a cage, yeah, imagine me here, I'm holding onto the bars, and I'm in a cage, and he's going, oh no, I'm trapped in the Matrix, like in a prison. And then the next picture, it zooms out, and he's actually holding like a grate in front of his own face.
Yeah.
It says, "Yeah, whatever, God." It's like it's like you just play into a story, but when you're it kind of ruins the. I remember what I was saying to myself when I become aware that it's just like a fantasy of infinite entertainment. It's like, it kind of like ruins it, because you know that it's just like a game that you're playing with yourself.
Yeah, it's the great cosmic joke to just laugh at yourself, like.
Literally.
But the beautiful part with it that really comes with it is to become a lucid creator in God consciousness, because then you remember who you are, you feel that you can divinely create desires in oneness, you really flow with life, and we return to heaven on earth, and we have way longer lifespans and live in harmony with animals and everything. Like even telepathy is real then. Like we have like real like 0 point energy. Every electricity is free. Like real advanced civilizations, like gods, like in Egypt and things like that.
Yeah, I know. Like becoming lucid in the dream. Yeah, that's quite a powerful. Because like the way you put it. Because like you can have dreams where there isn't the entity as you, like an actual dream when you're sleeping, and then you don't identify with. And it kind of puts it into perspective, and how everything like holistically adds up in like some mad metaphorical ways. When you awaken, all the dots connect. But yeah, it's like becoming lucid in a dream is really how you bring it about in this actual waking reality. Is that you actually are not just this figment of consciousness. You are the consciousness itself. You're not the image and depiction of, And that's awakening.
Exactly.
That's awakening to the lucid dream, I guess.
Yeah, there's just the infinite intelligence in a localized form.
What you were saying earlier about how reality is love and it's pure creation. So there was my sister's baby, and he's only like a year old, and the TV was just going clap, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, like teaching him, showing buses, and as I was watching it, I was like, it is literally pure creation. Like everything exists, and it's just like infinite images of like pure magic.
Yeah, it is a miracle. It's an act of God. It's God's fucking beauty of life. Like it's heaven on earth. It is heaven. It is paradise. Even the dark age we're in now, that we call the Matrix and shit, to God, when you're in God consciousness, it's the same paradise. Because you remember who you are, and you remember who everybody are, and you remember it as your God family, everybody. You see yourself in everybody. Even if people, no matter what shitty things people do, you love everybody no matter what.
Yeah, I've always had that. I've always had forgiveness. People around me are like, what are you on about? He deserves a kick in or whatever. And I'm like, compassion is always at the centre. I always forgive. Because I don't think it's anyone's fault, in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like it hurts yourself to go hold on to other people's things.
Mm-hmm.
Why hold on to what other people do? It's unnecessary.
100%. One last question, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
do you ever find, like, because me, the way I interpret, I do have a lot of, like, darkness somewhat within me, and I'm getting a lot better with deeper awakenings and understanding myself. But, like, do you ever recede back into, like, 'cause I imagine you wasn't, like, completely pure. You probably had, like, some, like, negative identifications and some, like, maybe, like, mild, like, basically, do you ever, like, forget these days of the truth? Do you ever recede into, like, suffering and some narrative in the mind? Or how does it go? Or, like,
It's just I can still feel days where maybe I don't feel as good, and the narrative is not something that is the most optimal or something like that. But I have no identification with it. Like when if I like this is the last few months and stuff, it's completely stabilized because I've been practicing Tibetan Buddhism, which is Rigpa, which is just you don't cling to anything. That's their only teaching.
yeah.
You don't grab any thought. You're already great perfection. You're already infinite intelligence. You don't need to grab any thought. It's all automatic. It's just happenings.
Yeah.
You yourself are the infinite intelligence in the present moment, the great perfection. So that's what I've been practicing lately, and I've really been stabilizing. It's like it's like a joke now. When if I think to even think that I'm the mind would be that I have to think more an extra thing than to what I am. Like it's just a little tool I can play with. It's like picking up a knife. Like if I close, I know I'm the awareness. Right now, when I'm speaking, my mind is not there, and I'm still here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what, like, I've been
It's
getting
just
that a
that
lot
thing.
more recently. Like, when I'm at work, some negative narrative will come up in my mind. And I'll see it a lot quicker and I'll go, yeah, whatever, shut the fuck up. And I'm not letting this, like,
Yeah,
negativity capture me.
but it's also just your mind that cares about that because this
Oh,
awareness
yeah.
that we are is total acceptance. It actually doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't. It has zero fucks. It really doesn't care. Like it doesn't care what the mind says.
Yeah.
It's just like a little drama for fun, a little trick, a game you can play with, a game of beliefs. No belief is true. All beliefs are true. If you just see it as a game,
It
like
is.
there's an alchemist book in Egypt where they just really explain to you that no emptiness is true. Your empty mind is true. Silence is true.
What's the book called, do you mind?
And no, I don't remember right now
Oh,
because it
okay.
was a girl I had a DMT ceremony the other day that
Okay.
told me about the book and showed me.
Alright.
But uh, and I already knew that because that's what every other self-realized guru or anything tell you. Just look what you are when you don't add anything onto you.
Yeah, literally, yeah. It's mad. I've definitely very happy I spoke to you today. I know that I said that was it. One more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's go, bro.
I said this with the last interview. Is there, like, in a summary, everything you've learned, do you have a few words where it's like, say if you was literally, this was your only message to humanity, or what is there to
Yeah,
say in a sum up, you know what I mean? Is there bullet
yeah,
points
yeah.
or what?
It's not completely this incarnation's message, but it's still me, God. Neem Karol Babaji. His only true message was love everybody and tell the truth.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid. Can't find much wrong with that.
It can be hard to do if you identify with your mind, but in pure consciousness, it's the most natural thing ever. It would be silly not to do it.
I 100%. the loving everyone and the compassion for everyone is really like it's the best feeling. It's like we're all in it together and you understand each other, and that's why I feel like compassion is just such a deep understanding for other people, and it's like seeing others as yourself.
And it comes naturally. In Buddhism, they tell you emptiness. They tell you to empty your mind, to reach silence, to reach awareness, to reach your not literally like empty your mind, but to reach your identification back to the real you, the awareness, which is naturally empty. It just has appearances coming and going sometimes. That comes with wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Automatically, it's our natural state. When we in Buddhism, they don't even call it self-realization, they call it recognizing the nature of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no need for a thought construction or anything to feel love. It's more like a knowing. It's just like in your body.
Yeah, it's who you are. Buddha, Jesus.
Alright. I'll wrap it up there if you're happy to wrap it up there.
Yeah, I'm super happy, brother.
That was an hour and 50. Well, just before
Yeah.
we end, that was literally... I definitely enjoyed speaking to you. I think I resonate with you a lot, and I actually learned a lot, definitely. And I would love to... I know that you've got experience and knowledge, and you're my kind of people. So I definitely resonate with you very strongly, and I had a very good time. So thank you very much for coming on. I had a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
I love doing these, and that's it. I hope to maybe get you on again in the future. I know I'm going to reach out to many people who I've done the podcast with in the past, and in some months or anything down the line, see if you're still up for any update. But yeah, I thought this was good. Is there anything you want to add just before we go?
Nothing special. Just thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it too. Like truly from the heart. It's been amazing talking to you, brother. I'm happy to jump on in the future too, anytime.
Hell yeah.
And just in general, like I recommend everybody, like whoever watches this, and if you watch all the way to the end, like God bless you. Like you're truly guided, and just trust yourself and practice meditation until you remember who you are.
I'm actually in like what I was thinking is like through talking to you, it feels like again like just like when I was looking at your breathwork video ages ago. It's like just actually being somewhat in your presence seemed to literally raise my consciousness. Like that literally like not even 2-minute meditation. I was feeling like in the center like of a meditation as if I'd been doing it for hours. And then even now I feel before I got on I was not as vibrant and happy and conscious, and I feel just better and more conscious having spoke to you. So there's that.
God bless, brother. It's the presence. It's the love guiding. I'm so happy that you wrote to me, brother. It's an honor to be on. It's been amazing.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll end the recording there. Thank you everybody for watching. Okay. I'll leave Mr. Nature and everything in the description. You guys are the best. Goodbye.